Hello, Professor. I hope you are doing good. So, I'll be recording this PowerPoint presentation and I'll be answering each question one by one. So, for assignment one, I have selected case study number 4, which is abusive workplace behavior, where we see a victim called Diane who is in graduate school, and Diane got recruited uh, in a new job where she was abused by our perpetrator Max. Coming to our second question, identify which ethical principle are involved in the case scenario and explain how they are involved. Identify three principles from the ACM Code of Ethics. So the first principle that I would like to involve is principle 1.1, contribute to society and human well-being. So I think Max's abusive behavior violates this principle because he failed to create a safe and supportive work environment. And this principle states that the professionals must prioritize human well-being, and in our case, Max's actions affect the psychological well-being of his colleagues, especially Diane and the female colleagues. So I think, yeah, we should involve this principle. The second principle that I would like to involve is avoid harm. So Max's actions directly harm his team members, particularly Diane, and because she experiences emotional distress because of Max. And this principle emphasizes the importance of maintaining a safe and supportive environment, which I think Max has clearly violated. So I would like to involve principle 1.2. The third principle that I would like to involve is 1.4. Principle 1.4, be fair and take action, not to discriminate. Max also shows a discriminatory behavior because he targets only the women colleagues in the organization, and he only punishes the women colleagues. And this violates the principle of fairness, which requires equality and non-discriminatory in any organization or in any professional environment. Therefore, I think I'll be involving principle 1.4. Coming to part B, identify three principles from any other ethical source and ideas. So the first principle that I would like to involve is accountability, which comes under professional ethics. So accountability means leaders are responsible for their actions, for their decisions, and they are responsible for promoting transparency. And in our case, Max has clearly failed to acknowledge his teammates, and he also tried to shift blame on others, and especially women. So I think I would like to involve accountability. The second the second principle that I would like to involve is fairness. Fairness means treating everyone equally and recognizing contribution without any kind of um without bias. So Max's actions show lack of fairness, and he punishes women and denies to credit them. So I think fairness should be involved. um, the third principle that I would like to add is respect for persons, which comes under organizational and leadership ethics. So, respect for persons means treating individuals with dignity and empathy. Um, and ethical leaders, they create environments where everyone feels equal or feels valued. And in our case, Max's abusive behavior and disregard for female colleague demonstrates demonstrates a lack of respect from his end, and a lack of trust as well. Therefore, I would like to involve respect for persons. So the next question is, discuss, do you agree with the decisions made or actions taken in your ACM scenario from an ethical perspective? Why or why not? Explain and justify using at least two serious non-consumer, non-use references. Specifically mention and make references to these resources in your video. So yeah, I think I strongly agree with Deanne's decision to approach Jean regarding Max's abusive behavior. I think her actions aligns with the ethical principles, and by seeking for support, Diane made sure that she is standing not only for herself, but she's also standing for the other female employees, or the other employees who might be facing similar discrimination or behavior from Max's end. Talking about the ethical standpoint, I think it is crucial to address abusive behavior for promoting a safe and respectful work environment. Ethical decision making involves identifying stakeholders and considering the impact of actions on them. In our case, the stakeholders include Diane and her colleagues. And by reporting Max's behavior, Diane is taking a step towards protecting the psychological well-being of her and her teammate, which is a fundamental ethical obligation. Talking about the principles that are in action in our case is principle of fairness. Diane's action reflects a commitment to fairness as she seeks to ensure that all team members are treated equally. Um, the second is professional integrity. Jean, as a manager, has a responsibility to uphold professional integrity by addressing Max's behavior. Allowing such conduct to continue would undermine the ethical standards expected in professional setting or professional environment. So the references that I have used in this case study is, first one is Baker versus Canada, Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration. So this case involves a lady called Mavis Baker. So she's a Jamaican lady who used to work in Canada without any documents. She worked in Canada for over a decade, close to 10 years. She also had four Canadian-born children. So after 10 years, she decided to apply for a permanent residency in Canada, and her application was denied, or we can say rejected, by the immigration officials. So because of that, she decided to challenge this decision in the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court in this case ruled that the immigration officials had failed to provide Baker with adequate procedural fairness during the decision making. The court emphasized that the individuals facing decision decisions that significantly affect their rights must be given a fair opportunity to present their case. So this was the decision made by the Supreme Court. And in Diane's case, like how is it relatable with our study? So in Diane's case, she approaches Jean, and tell her about Max's behavior, where and she's seeking a fair and just response for her concerns. So the Baker decision undergoes the necessity for decision makers like Gene to under to consider the implications of their actions on employees, and to provide a transparent process uh, for addressing such complaints. The second reference that I have added is Janssen versus Platy Enterprise Limited. So this case involves a female employee. Her name is Jansen. She experienced a sexual abuse from one of her supervisor at Platy Enterprise. So in her case, Supreme Court ruled that sexual harassment constitutes a form of discrimination under the Canadian human rights. The court emphasized that the harassment is not limited to sexual advances but can also include unwelcome comments, gestures, or behaviors that create a hostile work environment. So, in context of Diane's situation, Janssen versus Platy Enterprise emphasizes the importance of addressing workplace harassment and the legal obligations of employers to create a safe environment. Just as Janssen case, um, just as the just as the Janssen's case highlighted the need for organizations to take strong measures, or we can say proactive measures against harassment. Diane's decision to report abusive behavior aligns with the principles that were established in this landmark ruling of Janssen versus Platy Enterprise Limited. So, hi, coming to our next question. Now assume the perspective of different social people and players and project how they would think about your scenario from an ethical perspective. You need at least one new reference for each part. So coming to the first part, part A, perspective of a victim. So I will keep myself in place of Jian, and share my thoughts with you. So, as a victim of Max's abusive behavior, I feel a sense of betrayal and fear in the workplace. The workplace where I should feel supported has now become a source of anxiety and distress for me. And the Max's actions will not only decrease my confidence, but it will also decrease my colleagues' confidence as well. Talking from a ethical perspective, I believe it is crucial for individuals in position of power like Diane and Jean to take a stand against such behavior, um, which Diane did. And when Diane reported Max, she demonstrated courage and a commitment to the well-being of the team. The reference that I have used for this perspective is from the American Psychology Association. So it highlights the psychological impact of a workplace bullying, noting that victims often experience anxiety, depression, and decreased job satisfaction. Uh, this makes me believe that addressing abusive behavior is not just about compliance with the policy, but it is about protecting the mental health and dignity of individuals in the workplace. Coming to the part B, perspective of a corporation. So, from the perspective of the corporation, the ethical implications of Max's behavior are very significant. Allowing such behavior to continue can lead a toxic work environment, which will decrease the morale of all the employees, and which will ultimately lead to the decreased productivity of the organization. Since it employees morale will directly is directly related to the productivity. Um, I think it is essential for the corporation to promote culture of respect and integrity, because it is necessary for its success as well. When Deanne reported Max's behavior, it was a critical moment for the corporation to demonstrate its commitment to ethical standards. Um, the reference that I have used in this perspective is from the Society of Human Resource Management, which emphasizes that the organization must have a clear policy and procedures in place to address workplace harassment. By responding appropriately to Diane's concern, the corporation not only protects its employees but also safeguards its reputation and legal standing. Coming to the part C, perspective of the society. From a societal perspective, workplace abuse has important ethical implications that affect all of us. Um, it shows how we think about power and respect in professional settings, and the society benefits when we promote healthy work environment because they lead to the better well-being and productivity. When someone like Diane reports Max's abusive behavior, it sends a very strong message that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. Um, the reference that I have used in this perspective is from the WHO, which highlights the mental health in the in any workplace is important. Um, a supportive environment leads to a better health and productivity for everyone. And by encouraging change and supporting people like Diane who stand up against abuse, we create a culture where accountability and respect are valued. The next part is the perspective of a enforcement officer. So, as a law enforcement officer, my view on Max's abusive behavior is based on justice and accountability. My main job will be to enforce the law, but I'll also look after workplace harassment as a societal issue that needs a proactive approach. From an ethical standpoint, it's very important to make sure that the victim feels safe, and that the victim feels supported when they report abusive behavior. Um, the reference that I have used in this perspective is from the National Institute of Justice, which highlights the need for an environment where people can come forward without a sense of fear. Um, this is part of our duty to protect vulnerable individuals and uphold their rights. In this situation, if the behavior becomes criminal, it is my responsibility to investigate and hold the perpetrator accountable for his actions. However, when there are no criminal charges, organizations must take internal complaints very seriously and put measures in place to prevent future incidents from taking place. So, hi, coming to our next question. So, the topics that I have selected in this question are IoT and encryption. So, coming to our first topic, which is Internet of Things, we'll discuss the legal issues about it. So when I think about the Internet of Things or IoT, I can't help but notice the many legal issues that arises. Um, a significant concern is data privacy. There are laws like GDPR in Europe that requires company to handle the personal data of their customer with very carefully, or we can say with great care. And as IoT devices collect more personal information, it's crucial to ensure that this data is protected. Another legal issue relates the liability. For example, suppose if a smart home device gets hacked and further causes harm, determining that who is responsible for that uh, can be very complicated sometimes. The reference that I have used in it is from the challenges of IoT. So it is an so according to the this research, it is essential for IoT applications, particularly in sectors like healthcare and smart cities, to comply with data protection laws. And the authors of this research, they emphasizes the need of a robust legal framework to safeguard user privacy as as the number of connected devices continues to grow. Additionally, the paper also discusses the challenges of securing sensitive data collected by these devices, and highlighting on the ongoing need for effective legal protections. Furthermore, I have also added reference from a study on privacy issues in Internet of Things, which highlights various privacy concerns associated with the IoT devices, and discusses the implications of um, inadequate privacy measures and the necessity for stronger compliance mechanism to protect the user data. Coming to the ethical issues related to it, so I think ethically IoT raises important questions about the consent and surveillance. Many devices gather personal data without obtaining clear permissions from the users, and this can lead to the significant privacy violations and um, undermine the user's autonomy. Coming to the third part, which is a third issue, which is the societal issue. So, from an societal perspective, I see that IoT can create a digital divide. Some individuals benefits from smart technologies, others do not have access, leading to inequalities. Furthermore, there is also a risk that smart city solutions may not consider the needs of marginalized communities. Um, the next issue is moral issue. So I think morally, I believe there's a strong responsibility to protect the users from privacy breaches. Companies should act ethically in how they collect and use the data, ensuring that their practices are inclusive and equitable to all users. Um, so that was my first topic. Coming to the second topic of the question, which is encryption. I'll come to the legal issues associated with it. Biometric technologies rise very serious legal concerns, particularly regarding the privacy laws. Um, and there are few regulations like BIPA, Biometric Information Privacy Act, that requires companies to obtain consent before collecting the biometric data of anyone. Additionally, there are legal challenges in law enforcement related to the wrongful identification as well. Um, so the reference that I have used in this issue is from the law enforcement access to access to encrypted data. Um, so in this, the author provides an overview of the legal landscape um, surrounding encryption technologies. They discuss how laws regulate the collection and storage of encrypted data and examine the implications for law enforcement. Um, for example, the risk of misidentification of an criminal investigations. The paper also emphasizes the need for clear policies to protect the individual's privacy rights while balancing the law enforcement needs. Additionally, I have also taken reference from the moral character of cryptographic work, which was published in 2015 by P. Rogwe. Um, it discusses the ethical implications of cryptographic practices. Rogwe emphasizes the importance of moral responsibility in cryptographic work and suggests that the goals and cryptography should align with the broader principles of justice and societal good. Coming to the next issue, which is the ethical issue. So I think ethically biometric systems raises concerns about informed consent and data ownership. Users may not fully understand how their biometric data is used, and there's a potential of discrimination as well, especially if these systems are less accurate for certain demographic groups. So yeah, and the next is societal issue. For from a societal standpoint, the use of biometrics can lead to increased surveillance, which will impact the civil liberties. And the biometric identification in public spaces may create a culture of monitoring disproportionately affecting the can create a culture of constant monitoring and disproportionately affecting certain communities. Coming to the next issue, which is the moral issue. So, morally, I think there's a duty to ensure that biometric technologies are used responsibly. Organizations must be transparent about their data collection, allowing individuals to control their own information and protect their right. Um, to conclude, I would say in conclusion, both IoT and encryption technologies present significant ethical, legal, societal, and moral challenges. Understanding these issues is crucial as we navigate the benefits and risk associated with these technologies. And by engaging in ongoing dialogue and implementing best practices, we can enjoy the advantages of these innovation um, by with like considering the safeguarding while safeguarding the individual's rights and promoting fairness in society. The references I mentioned provide a very valuable insight of these two topics, um, which guide us in addressing the complexities surrounding IoT and the encryption technologies. I'll be so that's all with the answer. I'll be providing a separate Word document with my video, which will be covering all the references. I'll be mentioning all the references below each question that I have used. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for your time, Professor.